On February the 22nd, 2022, it will mark the 20th anniversary since Jet Set Radio Future was released back on the original Xbox. SEGA is showing no signs that they are interested in making another one, and not even the Xbox Series S has Jet Set Radio Future backwards compatible. And there's no Steam release. The future continues to look bleak for us Jet Set Radio fans. It's very strange too, because SEGA definitely knows that Jet Set Radio still has a hefty amount of fans, especially here in the West. Beat was recently added into Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania as a playable character. There's a Beat costume your avatar can wear on Sonic Forces. The SEGA shop even has some Jet Set Radio merch, even if it is the bare minimum. Even the most casual of folks remember Jet Set Radio when it comes to conversations about the Dreamcast and the original Xbox. When there's any mention of games people love or would like to see more from SEGA, Jet Set Radio tends to be somewhere at the top of these discussions. But I guess SEGA don't even see any benefits in making another one. It's a niche franchise, but it has such a strong community that's still very lively. But let's not think about the bleak future right now. Let's go back in time to the mid-2000s and the early 2010s. SEGA and Sumo Digital released 3 SEGA Crossover games: SEGA Superstar Tennis, Sonic and SEGA AllStars Racing, and Sonic and AllStars Racing Transform. All games feature some really great representation of Jet Set Radio for fans of the franchise to sink their teeth into. There are a lot of interesting and amazing references and tidbits put into all the Jet Set Radio content in these crossover games. So, being the Jet Set Radio nerd I am, I'm going to go through everything that I've discovered when going through representation of Jet Set Radio in the SEGA and Sumo Digital crossover games. First, we have SEGA Superstars Tennis, released in 2007. Beat is the representative for Jet Set Radio, being the poster boy of the franchise and all, and wow does he look hideous. Now, I know this version is on the Nintendo Wii, so it is guaranteed to look worse, but there's just something very off about Beat. They wanted to try and keep that same cartoonish look of the original game, but gave him this really bad looking hair to clash with it. The hair looks way too realistic. Why is his neck so long? Why does he keep grinning at me like that? I think Beat looks like a total geek in this game. But Beat isn't the only playable character from Jet Set Radio. He brought along his girlfriend Gum, which makes sense since she is with him on the cover of the game and is usually grouped up with him in a lot of promotions for Jet Set Radio. She doesn't have her own render like the other unlockable characters in this game, but she honestly doesn't look any better either in terms of the model. At least she has some idle animations during the character select screen, unlike Beat. When you pick Gum, she actually does her victory dance from Jet Set Radio Future. The court chosen for Jet Set Radio is loosely based off the Shibuya bus terminal. The graffiti and billboards here on the court are all ripped from Jet Set Radio Future. The music you can play on this court is Everybody Jump Around, Let Mom Sleep, and Fly Like a Butterfly, being the only song coming from Future. When you start the game, you hear the intro tagline from Jet Set Radio Future, and then when the game ends, you actually hear the same victory theme from Jet Set Radio Future. On the sidelines on the court, we have some local residents. The Rococo police just chilling in the back, waiting to beat up the loser. DJ Professor K on the side, jamming on his turntables with the giant stereos. And we even have some other GG members to cheer on their friends. We have Korn, Piranha, and Combo. Beat and Gum are both speed characters, so while being fast in terms of movement, they're not that strong when it comes to hitting the ball itself. In this game, characters have all-star moves, similar to Mario Power Tennis's Power Shots. Gum's all-star move has her doing her victory dance from Future, and every time she hits the ball, a swarm of Rococo police comes to the opponent's side of the court to comically knock him down. The ball also goes in a zigzag, but that's not really important. Not the most reliable of specials, but the Rococo police do cover a decent amount of ground, so at least one row will hit. In Beat's all-star move, he does his victory dance from Future, and when he hits the ball, Combo comes grinding onto the net and spraying the Jet Set Radio logo all over the court, forcing the opponent to slip and making it hard for them to control themselves. It sucks. It really doesn't affect the opponent's movement much, and not only that, the ball goes so slowly when Beat hits it that it's fairly easy to hit it back at him. It's terrible all-star move. Another important thing to note is that unlike most characters in this game who just have reused voice lines from their most recent games, Beat and Gum got brand new voice actors to do unique lines for their characters. I think the voice actors they got for Beat and Gum are great and are pretty much in line to what I think the characters would sound like.
Go, go, go! My point! Give up yet?
Mine! Rock on! Out of sight! Aren't you tired of losing yet?
Captain Onishima failed to stop me, just like you!
In SEGA Superstars Tennis, they also have this mode called Superstar Mode where you do a bunch of mini-game based missions to unlock characters, music, and courts. The Jet Set Radio missions are mostly focused on tagging up the court by collecting spray cans and hitting the ball at the appropriate spots with the appropriate color. You also have to avoid Rokaka police trying to halt your process. I just want to mention there is one mission where you just knock combo off the net with a tennis ball and it's accompanied by one of the most funniest sounds I've heard in my life.
That's nice.
For representation in a very budgeted tennis game, I have to say this was all really cool. There's a lot of great references here from both Jet Set Radio games, and it was just great to see Beat and Gum again after being absent for 5 years at that point in time. As a kid, I was just ecstatic to play my two favorite characters from my favorite game. Now we move on to Sonic and SEGA AllStars Racing. Beat makes his return to the roster with his girlfriend noticeably absent this time around. But what's this? He's in his future design this time. This is the best Beat has ever looked. Ever. I always preferred his future design, but just look at how much cleaner it is in this render. This is the Beat I grew up with. Seeing Beat like this only makes me wish we had an HD release of Future, but you know how it is at SEGA. Not only that, but you had to unlock him just like how you did in Future. That's a nice detail there. The interesting here is that Beat's character bio is actually his story from the original game. I guess they just wanted to stick with that, even though this isn't the exact same Beat. Beat drives a slick car called the Custom Daylight GG's. It's an orange car with mini stereos in the back for extra bass, it has turntables, and it has neon lights. The front hood has the Graffiti Soul logo, the mirror says Jet Set Radio Future on the top, and below the headlights has Beat's logo from the original game. I never noticed before that Future Beat was basically driving a car based on his original color scheme. It's Beatception! We have 3 racetracks from Jet Set Radio to talk about, so let's start off with Shibuya Downtown, based off Shibuya Terminal from Jet Set Radio Future. This place has a lot of set pieces that are just ripped from the Shibuya Terminal area in Future, and honestly, it's really cool seeing these things while you're driving around. This giant statue is the same one that you see in Rokaku Dai Heist that's supposed to be Koji Rokaku's ancestors. It's pretty weird that it will be here in Shibuya, but I guess it's whatever. There's this electronic billboard ad here that shows a spray can spraying the word Superstar before showing Gum in her future design. Nice to see Gum wasn't completely forgotten. Over here you can see that this graffiti is the same medium-sized graffiti from the Immortals, which is a rival gang exclusive to Future. Let's check out the sidelines to these poorly lit models cheering us on. We have 2 NPC designs, a Rokaka Police, and the Love Shockers of all people, one of the main rival gangs in the original game and an afterthought in Future. We have this junkyard area with trailers on top of each other similar to Rokaku Dai Heist. Speaking of that area, it also has the same abandoned train station that Poison Jam busts through and where you meet Riff. The most interesting thing about this track is that there's this boat carrying cargo. Because you never see something like this in Future, it's interesting to see that there's just a dock here in Shibuya. One more thing to note is that there's this plane flying around Shibuya. It's a Sonic plane with renders ripped directly from all across the Sonic Advance games and Sonic Battle. Next track on the list is Rokaku Hill, which is pretty much Shibuya downtown during the sunset with some added elements from Future's Benton Show area, 99th Street. 24/7 Divas, is that the nightclub where Rapper 99 do their shows? I definitely want to be at that spot to party. Besides that, this entire shopping area is pretty much like the one in 99th Street. Almost 1-to-1. Life without music? Yeah, that's not the life I want to live. Driving around, you can see a lot of similar buildings from 99th Street, but it's clear that we're still somewhere in the middle of Shibuya, especially when you can still see the train station sign. You can actually go inside the train station, something you were only able to do in the Benton Show area of the original game and can't do anywhere in future. In this section, we have a giant parking lot, which sort of gives me the theory that the blacked out area of 99th Street was going to be some sort of parking garage. When we get out of the train station and back to the shopping district, there are some interesting discoveries. The 24/7 Diva store that I showed earlier, they have still images of Rapid 99 and Cube inside. This would be the only time we see these two together. It's very interesting considering Cube used to be Rapid 99's former leader before betraying them. Maybe it's just a coincidence, who knows. Hey, you can see Garem over there on the right. And here's Riff with 3 pots in there. That's creepy. You could also see a faint image of Boogie and Captain Hayashi with Rokaku Goji in there as well. What an odd way to give the other characters from Future a cameo appearance. Just being still images inside the shop you would never be able to see normally. This is just wild. The last track on the list is Highway 0, but not the same Highway 0 as the name implies. This is more of a proper 99th Street inspired track. Now it's nighttime, which is a nice attention to detail going from day to sunset to evening across the 3 courses. This entire area around the Dragon Tower is very similar to how it is in Future. Very similar looking shops too. This is pretty much the main attraction on 99th Street. Too bad Rapid 99 isn't at the top of the tower. And just to get a good look at the Dragon Tower, just freaking stunning, man. It's beautiful seeing this in high definition. We actually go through a variation of the shopping district area and we drive through the exact same bridge that's in the bright section of 99th Street. There's this really cool blimp up here with this picture of a woman. I'm not sure who this is or if this is supposed to be someone real. If anyone knows, leave a comment below and let me know. I like how everything is all connected and you can just get from Shibuya to Benton Cho by train. Highway 0 is definitely my favorite Jet Set Radio track in this game. Check out some of the cool animations Beat has in this game. It really shows off his personality really well. Similar to the special items in Mario Kart Double Dash, all characters have all-star moves, which are very cinematic. For Beat's all-star moves, he hops out of the whip and starts skating at high speeds holding a special Jet Set Radio's Future spray can. You can spray other racers and cover their screens with graffiti that comes strictly from Future. The theme that plays is the Future Victory theme on a loop. For a screen covering move, it's but it is a sick looking all-star move. As a fan, I am very pleased with how much Jet Set Radio with Future was represented in this game. Being able to catch all the things that were in Future that made it into this game and even discovering some new stuff along the way. Beat is just oozing with personality and style that just makes him stick out amongst the cast. And style is such a very important thing about Jet Set Radio Future. Growing up with Future and seeing it get the treatment it did in this game, it just makes me so happy as a fan. The last game on the list is Sonic and AllStars Racing Transform. Beat will make his appearance once again, reverting back to his original design. He's looking much better than he did in Superstars Tennis. There's a number of little things both styles have that make them stand apart, but All-Star Racing Transform definitely did it better. Beat didn't come alone this time. He brought his girlfriend back. Gum makes her return and yes! She looks absolutely beautiful. This is the best Gum has ever looked. Such a stunning lady. Only thing to note is that they actually moved Gum's tattoo a little lower on her leg because it was seen as too sexual keeping it on her inner thigh. I just found that pretty interesting. The GGs ride their own set of ATVs with Beats being a mixture of black and yellow and having some fire painted on it on the side. It even has the sound waves from his goggles on the front. Gum's ATV is basically just her basic color scheme. Now, for franchises that aren't Sonic the Hedgehog, the other franchises are restricted to only having one track to represent them. Jet Set Radio is one of the few franchises to have two tracks. Sort of. Shibuya Downtown makes its return from the first game, and it's mostly the same stage with some minor differences. But that's not the main attraction for Jet Set Radio. That goes to the actual new Jet Set Radio track, Graffiti City. Now let's jump into the nitty gritty of everything. The song that plays during this course is a remix of That's Enough and Everybody Jump Around from the original game, and it sounds absolutely stellar. Every lap, DJ Professor K says something to the players. The lines are ripped directly from Jet Set Radio Future.
Here we go. This Monster Jam's just getting started. Yo, all right. Let's get this party started.
This building over here shows the names of Tails, Knuckles, Dr. Eggman, and Vice. At the bottom of it, it also shows where we're about to be driving to. It's a place called Skyway Highway. Very fitting name. Over here we have the SWAT team from the original Jet Set Radio. No tear gas being deployed this time. Now look who we have over here vibing. DJ Professor K himself in his original look. Just look at the way he's grooving. Over here in the city mall, we have Riff just checking out the view. Usually you drive so fast that you won't even notice that she's doing anything. But she's just looking around, vibing. You pass by some Rokako police helicopters, and guess who's chilling over here? It's Yo-Yo in his future design, trying to act cool like usual. On the left over here, you can actually see Cube in her future design grinding on the rail. When I recorded the footage, this was the first time I've actually seen it was Cube. You rarely ever catch it when you're driving normally. Check out this really sick Sonic the Hedgehog graffiti. It's really cool that they added some completely new graffiti tags just for this course alone. Over here you can see the signs showing that there's the commercial district to the left, Benson Show down the middle, and the railway station to the right. During the final lap, those Rokako police choppers come in and blast off the roads, and they chase after the racers while they're flying. Besides actually being able to fly through the railroad station, there's not a whole lot to look at during this phase. All-Star moves make their return, but not in the same grandiose fashion like in the first racing game. Beats All-Star gives him the ability to use giant speakers to send sound waves to knock away any nearby racers. The song that plays is a variation of Racing Glory from the original Jet Set Radio. Gum's All-Star has her send a trail of broken hearts behind the racers to mess them up. This is a reference to DJ Professor K's description of Gum in Future, which states,
Gum, a real cool lady who leaves a trail of broken hearts wherever she goes.
It's interesting that they wanted to keep that trait of her character. The song that plays for her is a rendition of Let Mom Sleep from the original Jet Set Radio. Beat and Gum share a lot of animations together. There's nothing too distinct about them besides the voice lines, which are also just ripped from the older games. This was definitely a budget game, and Sega saved up a lot of time, but heck, even Sega Superstar Tennis had more differences for it out. I wish they did have some more animation distinctions between the two, although I can look at it differently and say Gum just wants to mimic her boyfriend. There are stickers you can put onto your in-game license, all completely new art for a bunch of different Sega characters. This is the Jet Set Radio set of stickers. Along with Beat and Gum, we have Korn, Yo-Yo, Slate, Piranha, Mew, Garam, and DJ Professor K. These stickers were drawn by Lynn AAA, and she did an amazing job on these. And with that, that's all of the Jet Set Radio representation, references, and cameos that I was able to find in the SEGA Crossover games. It was very fun going through these 3 games and seeing everything they've done to commemorate Jet Set Radio. As a fan, I gotta say they did this franchise justice. Both the original and future were represented equally and got an amazing amount of love given to them. It all just reinforced what I love about Jet Set Radio. It also makes me wish that we got another one. Especially seeing the updated looks of Beat and Gum during the racing games. Back in 2012, it was Future's 10th anniversary, and then months later, we got Beat and Gum in AllStars Racing Transform. We're reaching Future's 20th anniversary soon. Will SEGA even acknowledge it? I'm placing my bets on absolutely not, but who knows what the future holds, right?